1 second.
No problem. While you do that, I'll just remind you that we are recording the pitch just for viewing of investors only, that you'll have 12 minutes to deliver your pitch. And then we'll have 6 minutes for questions from our investors. At the 11-minute and 30-second mark, I'll spotlight myself just so that you're aware that we're getting to that last 30 seconds. But other than
Perfect.
that, you sound great and we can see your pitch deck. So whenever you're ready, go ahead and start.
Great. Thank you so much, Katie. Hello, my name is Linda Biggs. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Joni. And Joni is a 21st century period care brand. Now, I want you to take a minute to imagine that you're in a public restroom and you're sitting on the toilet and you're doing your thing and you reach over to grab some toilet paper, but the roll is empty. Oh shit, right? Well, that's what 96 million people in Canada and the US who menstruate experience. In fact, 86% of people who menstruate have been caught off guard. And then 37% of them will leave school and work to find a solution. Yet the $26 billion menstrual care industry is outdated, commoditized, and inequitable. Anyone who menstruates and has gone into a bathroom and has been caught off guard knows how low the bar is when it comes to interacting with these dispensers and using these products. They're typically bottom of the barrel, plastic-based options that you would never choose on your own, and they haven't changed or innovated in over 30 years. Yet the menstrual care industry is a multi-billion-dollar and growing market. And there's three key reasons for this growth. In Canada, primarily, the labor codes have changed, and now federally regulated organizations are required to provide their workers with free pads and tampons. Those are thousands of organizations. And in the US, this is changing state by state. Women also now drive the world economy, and we have the spending power, yet solutions have not been made for us using innovation. And this is why the feminine hygiene products market is going to double in the next 10 years, because people who menstruate are going to look for innovative solutions. And so we've created these. We've created Joni turnkey solutions for organizations that look at both the hardware, so the dispensers, and the products. So we have patent pending dispensers that are modern, innovative, and use technology to help facilities teams see when a dispenser needs to be refilled so they're not sitting empty or broken. And we also have lower cost, non-commercial options that thousands of organizations are using to provide their offices with free period care products. On the product side, we have sustainable, accessible, and branded options. So while the industry has been filled with commoditized versions of period care products, we're really looking to provide a high quality solution. And together, these create commercial subscriptions. Our products are the only bamboo-based pads in Canada, and our tampons are organic, and we have third-party certifications. So this is period care for the 21st century. Joni is surrounded by being inclusive, innovative, accessible, and sustainable. And these are our values and what differentiates us. Now, inclusivity is important because gender and menstruation is actually two separate things. And so as organizations are looking to roll out solutions, especially in Canada with these labor code changes, we're not just looking at women's washrooms, they're rolling out dispensers in male washrooms as well. And on the innovation side, we look different. We're high quality, and organizations are choosing Joni over the conventional options. A perfect example of that is the Jol properties here in Victoria. They're one of the largest property management firms in Victoria, and one of the directors of that firm who brought in Joni said, by bringing in Joni, it's a statement that we're making to our leasing agents to say that we actually care about the people in our organization. So we have sustainable options that are biodegradable and compostable and accessible. So we're meeting the consumer where they are. So what's our traction been like with our B2B channel? Well, we've sold over 1,500 dispensers, and we have actually over 2,500 pre-sold in our pipeline. We've made $650,000 in revenue to date in this channel, and we've seen over 200% channel growth. So we're rolling out Joni into municipalities, airports, universities, co-working spaces. We have hundreds of other partners. So how are we different? What does a competitive landscape look like? So there is another competitor that focuses on the B2B space based out of the US called AntFlow. And AntFlow focuses on products, the hardware, and sustainability focused, but they don't take a multi-channel approach. Frost is a Canadian brand that just focuses on hardware and nothing else. They don't offer products or sustainability options or take a multi-channel approach. And we're all familiar with the Hospicos and the Kimberly-Clark, very conventional options. They focus on either products and hardware or just products, and they're not taking a multi-channel approach. And why do we feel that this is important? We feel that this multi-channel approach positions us differently for growth. We're the only period care brand that can take advantage of what we call a flywheel. So as we roll out into B2B organizations and get joni into people's hands, we are able to leverage that for growth in retail and D2C channels. There's a lot of competition on the consumer side. It's really easy to start a D2C company. It's really hard to scale it. So a lot of businesses are starting in that space, and we're able to take advantage of that brand building and that trust for such a trust-based product to leverage growth in these other areas. And conventional brands are really still sitting on this side, on the left side, because they have plastic-based options. So what does the multi-channel growth look like for us? We're really wanting to see sustainable period care everywhere. And getting joni into people's hands, we believe will grow our D2C and our retail channels. And so we've tested it out. And what we've found to date, in addition to our dispensers rolling out, is we've seen subscriptions. We have over 300 subscriptions for an MRR and ARR. And we have over 660 retail doors that we've rolled out in. So we're in all the Whole Foods locations in Canada. We started in 8 of the 79 London Drugs locations as a test run with 3 SKUs. And we now have 5 SKUs in 89 locations. So we're working with specialty grocers who are really wanting to support a Canadian brand because we're currently the only Canadian disposable period care brand on retail shelves. So our revenue projections, we are expecting some big growth, and we've got 3 reasons for that. Our partnerships with distributors and janitorial companies has been huge, and it's growing. So we're working with Alpine, Transtar, Busy Bee, and dozens of others that are already in bathrooms and are looking for solutions like ours because the organizations that they service are asking them to find solutions. So they're coming to us. But also companies like Staples, who service hundreds of small offices across Canada. We can leverage their sales team and we can grow with them. US expansion is another big one. We haven't tapped into that market in a big way. And there's a huge opportunity there as more states look to drive period equity initiatives forward. And then leveraging our B2B to grow our D2C and retail channel. So our path to profitability and scale. Our gross margins on average across channels sit at 70%, and our profit margins on average are 45%. So within the next 6 months, we will be profitable, and we're looking for significant growth in this space. A lot of this growth is coming from our B2B partnerships. But our B2B partnerships are not just with organizations. When we first launched joni, we partnered with hundreds of nonprofits across Canada. And while a 5% give back seems like a lot, it's also marketing spend because we give to these nonprofit organizations when they need to service their communities. We give them consistent product, but when they have budgets, they also come back to us. And with a lot of the federal funding that's going out to nonprofits, they're choosing joni because we have these long-standing relationships. So big nonprofits like Period Purse, even United Way, Moontime Sisters, they're all coming to us for large solutions, even with the bigger budgets now. And so we have made impact in this space, but we've also used it as a revenue channel for B2B. So we've donated over 120,000 products, supporting over 80,000 menstrual cycles. And for organizations, it also helps them meet the UN sustainability goals. So a lot of organizations are looking for solutions in this space. And while period care available in offices is not going to solve all problems, it's definitely an easy check for them to say that they're moving in the right direction. So we're looking for $500,000 using a $10 million post-money cap and an 85% discount rate. And we are going to use the funds in 4 key ways. We've operated very lean to date in order to prove the model. And so we're looking to make some key hires. We've also invested R&D into our commercial dispenser, and we're actually looking to bring manufacturing here in Canada and still keep the cost significantly low. So we have a path for that, and we would like some funding to support that. R&D is a big way that we build a moat around joni. And so as we listen to our customers and aging millennials, we're hearing more and more of some of the needs that they're experiencing but don't have solutions for. So we'd like to look into reusable products, incontinent options, and even perimenopause solutions. Retailers. So as I mentioned, we haven't paid listing fees for major grocery chains. We've really looked at profitability to date, but we know that going into big grocery chains are going to require some funding. We're looking to make strategic partnerships with these larger grocery chains, the ones that make sense for us. So that will require some investment. And marketing. We have put very little, if anything, into marketing, and we really want to build that funnel as we scale. So our founding team is Jayesh and myself, but we have a team of 3 wonderful advisors who support us significantly, and we meet with them each quarter. We have Paulina Cameron from the Forum. Many of you probably know her. Michelle Corderio, who is a lobbyist, a retired lobbyist from Ottawa, and Elizabeth Dutton, who heads up the Women's Equity Lab here in Victoria. So we're really proud of the progress we've made in the last 2 years. It has been very turbulent, as we all know, but we're really excited about the opportunity ahead. And we're looking for partners who believe in our mission, impact, and brand, and would love to invite you to be part of the journey. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Linda. And I just want to, before some questions will start rolling, but confirm, have you started this raise, and where are you in the midst of this raise?
We have just started it. So this would be
Started.
essentially the first investment.
Okay. And I think I have the rest of the information there. So first question, do companies that put joni into their facilities, they charge for that product? If so, can you please explain the method to charge for use?
So right now, organizations, well, they won't charge for joni products. So similar like toilet paper, the idea is that workers have access to pads and tampons for a natural bodily function. So they would add it to their toilet paper budget essentially every month. So right now they pay for these dispensers up front. We are exploring a possible option where we provide the dispensers for free if we can then use that dispenser for marketing essentially. And that's where some organizations might be okay with that. Some of our organizations might just want to pay upfront for it. But even if we give the dispensers away, with the R&D that we're doing right now, we're getting that cost down low enough, we could make that profit back within the first 2 product orders. And we would look for a master service agreement in that case to help us do 2 years worth of product orders guaranteed.
Yeah, very logical. So can you go back through and talk about the competition? You had a great chart there, but we looked at it quickly.
Yes.
So AntFlow being the closest to you, but in the United States. And you say they don't have a multi-channel approach, so they're really just doing B2B. Is that what you're saying, or B2C?
They're doing B2B. So they have been around for probably the past 2 years, and they are in Canada. And we have found that it's interesting. Competition is good. And so we're actually learning a lot from their entry into Canada and some of the feedback that we're getting from them being in organizations and using that to grow ourselves.
Do you think that that will be an obstacle for going into the United States then?
I think that there is so much opportunity in this space that I'm not concerned about that. For example, there are states that are just currently moving to provide laws where organizations are having to provide their workers with free period care. But then there's thousands of organizations that are not mandated by state law who are choosing to move in this direction. For example, McDonald's already brings free products for their workers. So if we have a connection to McDonald's, we could roll out through there. We're already in one organization, Adyen, It's not one that most people know about. They're a multi-billion-dollar company based out of the Netherlands, but we're in a few of those offices just to test to see how those are going. But there is an enormous opportunity in the US, regulation aside.
So what would you do if AntFlow decides to do a multi-channel approach too? How would you handle that?
Again, I think that there's just so much opportunity in this space. AntFlow would, it's a big investment to go into retail, but not to say that they couldn't do it. But I think that right now their sweet spot has been B2B, and so that's what they're focusing on. But if they did decide to go multi-channel, it would be similar to when you walk down the period care aisle and you've got, dozens of options, but P&G doesn't seem to have a problem having competing brands. They are still very successful. We talk about 26% of the population at the least that menstruates. There's a significant amount of people who need the product. So I think there's an opportunity for everyone.
And before we go off of that, what's the price point comparison between Joni and AntFlow?
We are a much more affordable option because we're based out of Canada. So they come in with US rates, which is one of the big reasons that when we compete with AntFlow with an organization, we often win when we're able to have an opportunity to do that. Their machines are also manual, so you have to press a button to get product out. And what organizations have told us is that breaks very easily. So with our commercial dispenser, it's an automatic, you push a button and then there's a 30-second wait time, so it prevents overuse. AntFlow philosophically will never provide a wait time in any of their dispensers. We've talked to the CEO of Citron, who they've partnered with. They have an exclusivity agreement with them, and they will never go in that direction. For us, the differentiator is that we provide that option. And the one barrier that organizations have with bringing in a dispenser that offers free period care is abuse. And so if we can meet that head on to say that we have this 30-second wait time, that seems to be the winning factor for us, because then it gives them that peace of mind. And until period care is available everywhere, we don't have the scarcity issue. I would rather get a product in that offers period care, even with the 30-second wait time, than not being able to get in there.
You could walk away with all the toilet paper too, I guess.
Exactly.
There have been changes to make menstrual products free in schools. Have you tapped into that?
Yes, we did. We've done a ton of lobbying in Ottawa, and we've tried to lobby just provincially as well. BC being, where we are, so a natural one for us. With schools, it's really tough because when they get budget for it, it's very limited. It's like enough for 5 pads for a student annually. And so they're very restricted with what they can purchase. And so oftentimes their decision factor is how many products can we get for the most amount of products for this budget? And we totally understand that. So what we've been doing is actually working with school boards, because oftentimes students go to their school board and say, listen, we don't want these conventional products in our bathrooms. And they oftentimes rebel and throw them away or abuse them. And so when the student council goes to the school board and says, can we be part of the decision factor for what products you bring in? We found that works best. So we are rolling out to school boards using that approach versus any kind of RFP that goes out provincially for product, because we feel that's a more successful model for us.
Okay. You mentioned a portion of this raise focusing on R&D and reusable products. What's the timeline in bringing this type of product to market in retailers? And is there a unique value proposition compared to what's in the market, i.e. Diva cups, etc.?
Yeah, so for the R&D for the dispenser, so right now we're working on a commercial dispenser mold. So our cost for our commercial dispenser right now is roughly $450, and then we retail that anywhere between $650 and $900. We were testing out the pricing. And so what we are currently working on is actually a mold that we would mass produce and then allow that cost to come down, even with it manufactured in Canada, to under $100. So our margin would be somewhere around 75%, and we can roll them out in much, much faster. So that's a big part of our R&D focus over the next 6 months. That new Model V dispenser would roll out beginning of Q2 2024. For the reusable products, you're right, there's a lot of options in this space. And I think it's not necessarily about creating something, you know, weird and wonderful, but it's about being a brand that provides you with both options. Right now, reusable companies typically only stick to reusable products, but there's an opportunity with the marketing and the narrative about it not being an either or. I, as a natural consumer, use reusable pads, and I use tampons, and I use disposable pads, and I use period underwear. But there's no one space for me to get all of those products. So I really want Joni to be that brand that provides you with all of those options. In the innovation space and R&D, there's also an incredible opportunity to drive femtech forward in Canada. The largest check ever written to femtech innovation is $1.5 million. And there's so much opportunity for us to develop and manufacture products here. And so we're looking at how we can then take, say, a natural resource like seaweed and develop products from that with manufacturing in Canada. And that's our longer term R&D plan, because we really do feel that innovation is our moat, and we can develop new products that way.
Great. Great. Linda, you've done a fantastic job of answering our questions. Great presentation. Thank you so much for pitching to us today. And we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. I don't know how to end this screen. Are you going to just jump me? Can you just kick me out?